Something I've been realizing acutely recently, right, is about how when you invoke your twin flame, you're invoking a soul. You are invoking your God. And when you're invoking your twin flame, who is the soul of your man or your woman, you're invoking your own soul. You're invoking your own eternal soul, your own eternal soul, the one who is not bound by the identities that you carry in this life or in any other life for that matter. That is who you're invoking. And the path to your twin flame, right, is directly the path of you from the lies of the identities that you're carrying in this lifetime to your own eternal soul. Now in Thug World, right, they've got a whole huge genre, right, of finding yourself. And what they teach you, right, is to put aside your old identity and get a new one, preferably involving travel to exotic other places, preferably spending money, touring the world, and all of that. Now, what happens, right, to most people is that you leave your birth, or not your birth identity, because that's something you cannot leave, but you leave the identity with which you grew up, and you take on this identity of a person, right? This half-baked identity of somebody who's traveled, or who chose a different way of living and a different lifestyle from that which you grew up with. Okay, it's different from your peers. It's different from all the people that you grew up with and all the things you were told that you should grow up and be. So it's a sort of rebellion against the identity you grew up with. And then you find, right, after a little bit of 2 or 3 years, you find out that that is also a trap. You know, that new identity is also, at the end of the day, a limited identity. And it's a trap. And a lot of people fall in love with that new identity, and then they find that they don't really, get along with that person. That person really doesn't understand them really. Because at the end of the day, right, you're just replacing an old trap with a new trap. Any of these identities that are restricted to, this lifetime, this birth, this your race, where you're born, the language you speak, your profession, your hobbies, your talents, your skills, all of this, right? Like at the end of the day, right, that is just one aspect of you. So you cannot fully sexually find fulfillment while you can't find fulfillment sexually while you're restricted to even that, as wonderful as it may be. And the thing about your twin flame, right, is you're invoking somebody who is a 360 degrees manifestation of your own soul. You're invoking your own soul, right? And that 360 degrees, right, it cannot fit in. It will not be happy with any of these identities. It won't. And so, what I'm getting at, right, is that you have to accept your own 360 degrees eternal soul. Because that's the only way, right, that's the only way that you can even begin to perceive your beloved. Until then, right, you're just going to be like, your beloved, right, is can be revealed to you only with your eyes looking at eternity. That's what I'm trying to say. Because you see, in thug world, right, as soon as they find out that a human loves somebody or considers somebody their twin flame, they will immediately call up and bring in front of that human all the identities that that human has held, to remind them that in that identity they cannot be with the one they love. I don't know how they do it, right? But in my experience, 9 out of 10 times, right, they have maintained the separation of human bloodlines to make sure that we can't just find our one anywhere near us. I've noticed this, that they have by policy, they maintain a geographical and otherwise as well, like economical and geographical and caste, and like they maintain the bloodlines very separate, so that they can't just find somebody to love, because the whole of thug world, right, is dependent on taking the trauma of the human, the love trauma, the sexual trauma of a human who is separated from their beloved. This is the basis. This is the 90%, right, of the energy that they live off. All the other trauma harvesting, it's in that remaining 10%. This is the big deal, because to separate a man and his woman, to keep them physically separated, that is like for them, because that is the highest, that is the strongest force in the universe. So that is, where they get the most tension from. That is where they get the most magnetism from. So this is something that's very crucial for them. And how they do it, right, most of the time. Now, in my case, they, like, when I thought that my beloved is in the US, right, when I thought and when I said that, they immediately blocked all travel between me here and the US. Like the year I said it, that was 2018, and by 2020, and I predicted it. I said that the year of the US election, there will be no travel between here and the US, no commercial travel by which I could possibly go or anyone could possibly come in. And I was right. They suspended international flights for the big part of 2020 till the US election was over. You normal people couldn't come in or go. And then I said that as a matter of policy, they will make it incredibly difficult for anyone from here to go to the US, even like for a tourist visa or anything. But more interestingly, what I predicted and what could not have been believed at all is that they wouldn't allow anyone from the US to come around us. I predicted this, and from the day that I predicted it till now, we have never seen like a foreigner around us. We who used to see people from abroad every other day, we haven't seen one in 8 years now. 8 years. 8 years. Not one. And we used to see them every day around us, because we used to live in those kinds of places, and we still do live in those kinds of places, but not one. So they drastically, they sacrificed the tourism industry to make bloody sure that I don't meet somebody. You know what I mean? Who I was expecting. And now that I've changed my mind about that, or and I've even said it, they're still continuing on that path, and it's fine. This is God playing them. It's their loss. Because that's how it is. But what I want to tell you, right, is that is how important it is for them to keep us apart from our beloved. And here's the deal. The big part of it, right, like in my case, things are a little extreme, okay? And in my case, because I'm at a very, very central point of rituals, right? they do this kind of thing. There's a lot of money in rituals, but it is so with all humans, right? They, it might not be as drastic as this, but it is very much an actual real policy of theirs. And you know how they do it? And believe me, right, this is highly specialized over generations. This method I'm going to tell you about. They will call up the identities they have given you and they have trained you to have and to hold, to make sure that you do not find love outside of that identity. Because every identity, every family, every bloodline has got its boundaries, and they have people who are watching for who enters that circle, and they will make sure that nobody enters that circle who is not possessed by their poltergeist, by their demon, by their bloodline's demon. They'll make sure. A lot of humans think they go and randomly find a boyfriend or girlfriend. Is such bullshit. It's orchestrated. And there have been times when you liked somebody but you could not, they disappeared. You couldn't contact them. Mysteriously, they stopped contacting you. Or mysteriously, you had to suddenly go. There was a tragedy. You suddenly fell very badly ill, or you suddenly ran out of money, lost your job, had to move. They don't yet let you just like anybody or get on with anybody. It's very controlled. And the big part of that controlling of you is through identity. Because if you believe you're this and this person, or you believe that these are your limitations, right? As a person, this identity is, holds you to this and this. Without you mentally knowing it, right? Subconsciously, you will be blocking your twin flame because there's somebody that doesn't fit in as a partner with your current identity. And this is why I'm saying it won't even come to your mind. Like it's not even like it will come to your conscious mind that I love this person, but I can't be with them because I have these. It may not ever reach that point even. You might not even feel like you love this person, and you might not even know you do. Because you're subconsciously so entrenched in that identity you're carrying. And all the thug world identities, right, they are black magic mandalas. Black magic mandalas. You're being drained by them. Constantly, when you're carrying an identity, you're being drained by that identity. Constantly. When you are when you are holding an identity, right, that's choking you at the root, then you don't even know that the choices and you're making, in which direction they're taking you. You're going around in a circle, and then you go and you try and rebel against that identity, and they got you because the opposite identities are also theirs. So they get you there, and now you have two identities. Because believe me, in Thug World, if you have any identity, it's all connected to every other identity of Thug World. So you never actually end any identity as long as you have any identity, because they're all connected. The same evil is behind all of them. You got to rise into the knowing of your eternal soul, believing in your eternal soul and living from your eternal soul. And this might come across some days as very rude. This might come across as disrespectful. This might come across as ungrateful. Fuck that. Fuck how you look. Fuck what anybody thinks of you. Fuck your so-called character. Build real character. Real character is being the eternal you and moving from your spiritual leading. Moving from your spirit. That is eternal. You're going to look crazy to a whole lot of assholes who don't matter, who don't count. Nobody matters. The only person who matters is your beloved. And who is you? And who is you? So what I'm saying is, Don't go into these identity traps of going from one identity to another. You know, don't go into the traps of I'm going to be this or I'm going to be that. um do what you love. Do what you love. Whatever you love, right, that is your soul identity. And that love might shift, just like when the sun moves through the sky, the light shifts over the land. So the what your love settles on might shift. So do what you love, and that love, all the things that are from your soul, those things are your identity, the soul itself. Like, see yourself. If you see yourself, right, if you see your own eternal soul, and you feed your eternal soul and you grow your eternal soul, right, then your eyes will be beginning to open, and then you will see your beloved. You'll be able to recognize them. Then you'll be able to interact with them. Then you'll be able to have a way to speak, to connect with them. If you come into your soul, because then they also will be coming into their soul. But otherwise, it could happen that they're right there, or they're not around there, or whatever, but your identities will clash. Your identities will clash. You'll be like, they might not even be visible to you, because our whole vision, right, is controlled by our sense of identity.